What's up, guys? We are back for another video, and as you can see, still in Hawaii. So today's video is going to be a lot different than most normal videos. Most normal videos, we take a couple segments, 2 to 3 minutes per segment, really discuss them in depth, discuss the possibility of any and everything that either could go wrong or what could go right for said player and said team. But today's video is going to be different, as I posted in the community tab to post a question and I will answer in today's video. So it's going to be more like the second channel, although with the second channel I always just run straight through, whether it's 10 minutes, 12 minutes, whatever, we just run straight through, right? So today I will be breaking down each question, whether it's 45 seconds, a minute and a half per question, but we're going to be going through a lot of the questions that were said in the community post, and depending how this goes, we may very well do another one, and this is something I would like to continue. So anyways, before we dive into everything, please like the video and subscribe to the channel, as each only take a second to do, and it would be very much appreciated. Now let's begin. So the first question for today's video is from Just Doing Things Z, and it says, thoughts on NFC West division winner and how is Hawaii? So the NFC West is one of the most loaded divisions in football, and if everyone stays healthy, or at least mainly the 4 quarterbacks in that division, it is the most loaded division in all of football. And what's really crazy is this division not too long ago, or not seemingly too long ago, was by far the worst division in football. But anyways, it is hard to bet against Russ and the Seahawks, and they won the division last year. Granted, the Seahawks beat them in the playoff game, but it is also very hard to bet against them. And for that reason, and with the rumors as I make this video that Julio Jones is wanting to go to Seattle, or at least there's rumors that he may go to Seattle, I would definitely take the Seahawks. And Rams fans, I understand if you're upset with acquiring Matt Stafford that I wouldn't pick you guys, but I do think the Seahawks will win the division. But Rams fans, I could also 100% see you guys winning the division as well. 49ers fans, again, not forgetting them either. It's going to be a very fun division to watch, and honestly, what's going to be, I don't want to say underwhelming, but I could see whoever wins the division just flopping in the playoffs because of how brutal that division is going to be all year and how beat up every player is going to be by the time the playoffs start. So, next part of the question, how is Hawaii? I'm going to be honest, I thought on the plane ride out, I was like, what, is this really worth it? We flew from the East Coast to Seattle and then from Seattle to Hawaii, and that plane ride from Seattle to Hawaii just seemed like it was never going to end. And honestly, I was like, is this going to be worth it? But a couple days in, it is 100% worth it. And whatever you got to do to get here at some point in your life, you have to. It is, the hype is worth it. It's crazy. It's amazing. It's truly a beautiful place, and I cannot recommend it enough. The next question is from Nick Lee, and the question is, should the NFL have a play-in system like the NBA? And I'm going to be 100% honest when I say this. No, absolutely not. Imagine if, in theory, Patrick Mahomes this year goes down for 5 or 6 games. They go 1-5 during that stretch, and they go, I don't know, something like 9-0 during the other stretch, and they have to play in because they're 10-7, right? Imagine if Patrick has an off game in the play-in game and the Chiefs lose and they miss the playoffs for, I don't want to even, disgrace the team when I say this, but just a team that is not anywhere as close as popular as the Chiefs are. It would just be bad for the NFL if something like that happened, and it's in a league where everything is money driven, it would not be good. Now, conversely, you could say, well, if you're saying it's money driven, then the play-in game would make sense, but I just think there's too much risk for the NFL, not having its biggest stars play in the playoffs. That's just my personal opinion, but, the Bucs were a wild card team this past year, and they won the Super Bowl. Now, imagine if the Bucs lost in the play-in game, to whoever would have been the 7th seed this past year, the Arizona Cardinals, right? Imagine if they lost to them and Kyler just tore them up and, torched them for 185 yards, right? So there's a lot of, not necessarily liability, but there's a lot that could go wrong in terms of this. There's going to be teams that would upset other teams, and granted that happens in the playoffs naturally, but what I'm saying is I don't think it would be good for the NFL to have a play-in like the NBA. The NFL is a lot more physical, and it is a lot more grueling and straining on guys than the NBA is, not to take away from basketball players, but suiting up for another whole game for just a play-in, to me, would not be worth it for the NFL, and I do not think they should have a play-in game. The next question is from ZippyPancake64 with the Ohio State logo as the profile picture. It basically says, would you take 2 1s, a 2, Cortland Sutton, and Bradley Chubb for Aaron Rodgers? So if I am the Packers, I would 100% take that in an instant. There is zero doubt, but the Broncos would be giving up way too much for that. Now, honestly, to further go into this question, I really don't know what the cost for Aaron Rodgers would be, but I would not be willing to give up a perennial 1,000-yard receiver, and what we would assume Cortland is. He only has one 1,000-yard year to his name right now, but we assume that's going to be significantly more if he just gets a good quarterback and can stay healthy, right? Bradley Chubb is a good pass rusher, and to give up 2 1s plus those 2 guys is not something the Broncos should do. Now, to answer the question of what they should give up is tough because Aaron Rodgers is 37 years old, and the question becomes, how much longer does he actually want to play? Does he want to play 2 more years or 7 more years? And Tom Brady is the exception and not the standard. Just because we are I don't want to say advancing in technology, but because we are advancing as a society, it's not going to be, athletes' lives are from 20 to 45 or 50, and Tom, who knows how long he's going to play, he is, and I really struggle with this word, he is an anomaly to the standard, and so don't expect Aaron, for anybody that, by the way, not just Packers fans, don't expect Aaron to have 8 more years of good play because I don't think that's going to happen, and at some point he will fall off. 48-5 last year was incredible, and he torched my team in week 1, absolutely destroyed them, but to expect that to happen year in and year out until almost 2030 is probably not a reality. And so to answer this question and get back to it, I would not take this trade if I were the Broncos. The next question is from Owen Seafried, and it says, do you think the Steelers' defense can carry them to the Super Bowl? And Owen, I'm going to be honest, I am probably going to be in, I don't want to say hot water with Steelers fans, but I'm probably not going to be the Steelers fans' favorite YouTuber this upcoming year. I don't think they're going to be in for a good year, and they struggled in the playoffs last year after a horrendous start where they basically gave the Browns the game, and that's obviously not going to be every single game this year, but I think that is going to be a sign of what's going to come for the Steelers. If they have 10 wins, if they go 10-7, I would be genuinely surprised. Now, I didn't like all the slander they received when they were 11-0 last year. That wasn't necessarily fair to them, but with Ben aging and Ben obviously not being the player he once was anymore, even Steelers fans should agree to that, I don't think the defense can carry them to the Super Bowl. And even though they drafted Najee Harris, the offensive line isn't exactly great. Now, they did make a couple improvements, but the offensive line is not, the road graders and the just maulers of the NFL, right? So I don't think the Steelers defense can carry them to the Super Bowl, and I honestly think it's going to be a roughly 500 year. 10 wins, it's possible. Again, it probably would surprise me, but for them to make the playoffs, I don't think they're going to win the AFC North. So that would imply then that they would have to go 3 straight on the road playoff games, and Ben at 38 or 39 and whatever weight he is now, I don't think that's going to happen, and the Steelers defense would more than have to carry them, and I personally do not see that happening in the 2021 season. The final question we are going to answer in depth today is, what is the Giants' floor and ceiling from Angry Helicopter? So I'm going to be honest, I am not the biggest Daniel Jones guy, and I really don't know anybody that is, just pounding the floor for Daniel Jones or pounding the ceiling, whatever the phrase is, right? They're not just, Daniel Jones is going to be the next Eli Manning, and I don't see it, and a lot of other people don't. So honestly, the floor for them is going to be pretty low, and as good as they are offensively, if the quarterback play is that bad, then the floor for them, it's going to be low. For a record-wise, I'd probably say 4-13, 5-12. Again, that's the floor. That's not what I'm saying they're going to go, but the ceiling, if Daniel can be an above-average player, not necessarily even a Dak Prescott or, I don't want to say Lamar, but just not a great player. Not, I'm not talking elite of the elite, Patrick Mahomes 2018. I'm not talking that. I'm talking an above-average player. And actually, I really slammed Dak when I didn't mean to there because Dak is great. But what I'm saying is he needs to be an above-average player. They can go probably 12-5, 11-6, and it wouldn't be surprising because of all of the offensive weapons on that team. Now, to be clear, I love Dak, great player, great franchise quarterback, not slamming him at all. But Daniel Jones is going to obviously determine how the Giants go this year. They, if he has, I don't want to say he even has to be a game manager, but if he just does not turn the ball over, if he just doesn't have fumble problems and he doesn't make stupid interceptions and throw, dumb passes at poor times, then they're going to win a lot of games because of how good they are offensively. If Saquon stays healthy, again, for as much as Daniel Jones needs to not turn the ball over, it's going to be a lot of Saquon, being healthy, right? So it's probably a range between 4-13 to probably 11-6 would be my guess. Now, the final question I have, this is just a quick one because it is so easy to answer and it's just a quick one. It was, who is your all-time favorite player? And my all-time favorite player as a Minnesota Vikings fan is, not surprisingly, my guy Adam Thielen. I mean, if you ever talk to a Vikings fan, you know why, right? He's my guy. I'm sure he's a lot of people's guys, but anyway, Adam Thielen is my all-time favorite player. So anyways, that is all I have for today's video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you guys like videos like this, we can definitely do more content like this. I'm holding the camera instead of having it rest, so if that's, if the camera's been a little shaky, I do apologize for that. But anyways, that is all I have for today's video. I hope you enjoyed, because I know I did, and until next time, have a great day. Love you guys. Deuces. Peace.